Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King. And today I'm going to be giving you part 3 of What If Naruto Was One of the Legendary 7. Remember to get this one to 100 like as usual. Share this to all of your friends and social media platform. And also guys, stay in tune for the rest of what is coming your way over in Anime King 2 and Anime King 3. If you're new, yes, you're not mistaken, you did hear that correctly. I indeed have 3 channels, Anime King 2, Anime King 3, which I post what you find every single day for you guys to enjoy. So go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and support. Remember to comment down below and tell me if you're new. I'll be replying talking back to all of you. So yeah, without further ado, let's begin this new episode. Start the intro. So the last time we left off, they were in the war chamber, as they were coming up with proper strategies of showing this world that Kiri is not someone to mess with. As Naruto was given the floor, as the Mizukage turned towards him, as Naruto explained his plan, what do you think they should do? As the Mizukage saw great merit in his plan, so he would make the 7 Ninja Swordsman go and demolish the Kinkaku force of Kiri, take out the Eastern Island and pillage whatever they have and brought it back here, and to show themselves, to make them know that Kiri was not someone to be messed with, and that they were coming after the King of Stone very soon. As the Mizukage still had his grudge against the Tsuchikage, after all the man took his wife and his unborn child. The Mizukage then came to find Naruto and the 7 as he spoke to each of them, but none of them had what he was looking for until Naruto spoke about his comrades, the 501st, the elite group that was coming with them. As the man named Naruto the leader of this little operation. So with that they move out. As Ino was kind of upset that Naruto did not assign her that she should guard him, that she could be there by his side, but he already made up his mind, as he would be the one to go. That night she accidentally go into his mind. She saw it, the Kinkaku force, a lot of dead Uzumakis on the ground, as Naruto was cradling a little boy. Right here, there was a gaping hole in his chest, and Naruto lost his eyes. His aura was dark. She wondered if those were the Sharingan, but they were not. His eyes were different, red, but there was no marking pattern in it. He was something else, something different, as she watched him charge straight towards Kinkaku force. She woke up as she apologized, but she wanted to know if that was true. But he did not answer her question. Because if that was true, how was he still here and alive? Because there was so much of them and him alone. She did not know what was going on. The next day they moved out as they made their way. As Naruto was introduced to meet Terumi as she was a holder of the 6 tails. Given the fact that he grew up on, well, island without any Jinchurikis, he didn't understand the disdain towards her, but he could feel the power, as he told her to try and enter her state. Mei watched as Naruto seal away the power back inside of her. He was quite adept at Fonjutsu, so she would be sticking by his side. So with that they made their way as he could not cross the sea though. So Naruto brought up the water as the 7 Ninja Swordsmen came behind him and placed their hand on his shoulder and back, pumping their chakra into him, as with that they sailed straight towards the island. As they arrived there, they commenced the attack as Naruto flooded the city with ash. As he slammed his hand together, half of the city was erased as he was panting after that extraordinary, devastating attack. As the main jutsu was shocked as he saw it looking into the eyes. This was revenge, as he just murdered innocents, slaughtered them without even hesitating. So with that they made their way. As A was told to stay back, his father was not here, his father the current Kage, as A had to go and guard the prisoner. And the prisoner was none other than the Second Mizukage himself. Yes, the man was not killed, Tobirama Senju, was locked away. But despite all of their torture and all of their mistreatment, the man never broke, and he never said a single thing. And now the city was under attack and chaos was spreading and brewing everywhere. As Naruto got surrounded with Mei at his side, as the people wanted to die for what he did to those innocents. But he did not rise to their taunts, because all he saw was cowards and dead men. So yeah guys, so basically that's what I thought you guys can switch across the play, check it out for yourself. So Sabine's new episode. Mei watches the Anvo force rush towards them. She saw as Naruto pull the Tonto version of his sword off his back and toss it towards the group. Naturally, the Anvos dodge the weapon as they focus back on their two targets, but to their surprise, they look back down. Only Mei was there waiting for them. They were shocked. Where did he go? As Naruto appeared behind them, he grabbed the Tonto that they had dodged earlier. The three that saw him lost everything as Naruto severed their heads. Lava release. Melting. Operation technique, said Mei. Scatter! The Panther Mask Anvo said. No you don't, said Mei as she slammed her hands together. To the horror of the Kumo Anvo, the glob of lava divided into hundreds of bullets and attacked them without any mercy. Many screamed as their vital organs were pierced before succumbing to death, and many of them were brutally injured. Formation U! Panther roar! Mei flinched as all of them unite around her and flashed through hands in perfect unison. This is bad, she said. In an instant, Naruto appeared by her side as four Morphin popped up around her in a protective circle. Fire style. Raging Inferno. Water style. Water bullets. Wind style. Slicing blades. Earth style. Earth bullets. Lightning release. Electric magnetic murder. Mei eyes wide when all sorts of ninjutsu was launched towards her and Naruto and his clones. She watches all five of Naruto flash through hand sign as well. Impossible, she thought. Fire style, firewall. Water style, twin raging dragon. Wind style, gale palm. Earth style, mud wall. Lightning release, electric magnetic murder. Each of the five of Naruto released a different element as he pitted all them against each other. Water against fire, clashing fire against wind, punching wind against lightning, using lightning against earth, and piercing earth against water. She watches Naruto's more powerful nature overcome their abilities and slaughter them. Half of them were gone, as the enemies looked terrified as Naruto clones poofed away, using 5 elements at the same time. He's no ordinary ninja. All of you fall back, said Panther. Instantly they jumped away. You did well, Mei, said Naruto with a faint smile. You were not bad either, Lord Seven. She saw his smile falter though. What is it, she asked. It would seem that we don't have much time, he said, his eyes closed. The Kinkaku, they're coming. We can't fight them and the Anvo at the same time, she said. Let me deal with the Anvo, just watch my back for now, he said, as he stepped forward towards the 150 approximate enemies. Don't, no matter how strong you are, going up against so many will kill you, said Mei. She watches ash release from his body and charge straight up into the sky, and it spread everywhere. She felt a large amount of chakra building up inside his core. The white Hiyori stopped moving as he placed his sword back in his scabbard and pulled his Tonto off his back. As Naruto calmed his nerves, allowing him to feel everything all of the ash that he dispersed across the city. My son, this jutsu have been passed down in our family for generations now. Only a few elite warriors could master this power. Even I only learned it to some extent. But one day you, my son, will be able to master it. Those words ring in his head. The Panther Anvo mask watched. As Naruto's eyes opened, they were blood red. Here he comes. Meanwhile, A forcefully dragged the bound Tobirama towards the roof, maybe threatening the prisoner's life. Their former Hokage would force the force to retreat. But his plan failed miserably when you realize it was Kiri Shinobis attacking the city. You don't even know who your enemy is. Typical of a brute like you, Tobirama taunted. But he frowned when he sensed a foul chakra spreading across the entire city. Even A felt it as he ignored Tobirama as he looked around for the source of the power. As they stopped, everyone stopped. The battles were stopping as everyone felt the enormous amount of power circling all around them. This chakra feels so familiar, said Tobirama, but he kept that to himself. As he narrowed down the location, as he saw a shinobi with a white coat, dressed in Kiri traditional Jonin uniform, facing off against a large group of Anvo from Kumo. Who the hell is that moron? Does he want to die? A growl, unable to believe the arrogance of that blonde shinobi, thinking that he could face so much shinobis alone. Tobirama narrowed his eyes as he saw the same blonde warrior remain still as the enemies all charged forward. Something does not feel right. This chakra, Tobirama thought. Meanwhile, as the Panther released his blade, him and his force shot forward to rip Naruto down to pieces, Having already seen his power, they were gonna take him down, no matter what. The Anvu winced though, and a burning sensation spread across his arm. Beside him, his man stopped as some of them dropped their blades, unable to hold onto it, as they started to scratch all over their body. As the man looked towards his arm, a part of his skin turned black, and the black skin started to transform into something. What is this? He then saw that black mark of his skin transform into a sign of thunder, a symbol of an extinct clan. No, this is bad. Everyone, he shouted! But he was cut off as Naruto flashed in front of him. And the man realized something right there and then. He was already dead. Meanwhile, a gawk as several black flashes started to appear as more and more of his Anvu started to drop like flies. The attacks were so fast, impossible for the human eye to witness. Even as Sharingan or Byakugan faced difficulty against his move, so people no Genkai had no chance of even seeing or reacting. Who knew that an ear from the Namikaze clan still lived? I thought that we wiped them out in the last war, said A furiously. Beside him, as A then looked towards Tobirama, who was surprised. As this warrior was moving so fast, his speed might be lesser than the current Kage, but faster than most other shinobis. But most of all, it was a hair, and that fierce skin. The way he moved is fighting style. As Tobirama saw the boy got replaced with a woman, blonde hair and blue eyes, clashing off against her enemies. Inu, Tobirama thought, all these years, you. As his face took on a sad look, he watched as two platoons of Kinkaku forces rushed towards Naruto at blinding speed. He knew what they were going to do as they came to a stop. They would make him exhaust himself and then surround him. It was the same strategy used against him, sending countless and countless of Anvus after him until they jumped into the fray. He flashed behind a female and stabbed his tonto through her neck. A Kumo ninja jumped towards him and exploded himself. The Namikaze warrior was blown away as he smashed into a building inside. As blood started leaking from his forehead, Tobirama felt the chakra as chakra circulated through the boy's body, and his head was healed in an instant. Blood stopped flowing. The Kinkaku forces released their foul, dark chakra as they shot forward. To their surprise, there was an explosion as someone landed right in their path. Three tails waving behind her. It was none other than me. Damn, said A, to think. As Jinjulki is protecting the blonde menace, the Kinkaku force surrounding her from all sides. Tobirama cursed his old frail body for being so weak at the moment. If he managed to break the seals that were holding him down, he barely had enough chakra stored away to escape, and with the distraction, A was not focusing at all as a fist slammed into its chest. A eyes widened as he was sent rocketing off the building. Tobirama released all the chakra inside his body as it broke the seal. As he watched his Namikaze boy got back on his feet, but that jutsu that he was using, it took so much chakra after all. He had mastered a version of this from that same clan. Inu, even in death, your legacy still survived inside this boy. Thought Tobirama with a bittersweet smile as the face of the woman that he once cared for flashed in front of him. Grabbing a kunai that A left behind, A was knocked out cold as something was definitely broken from that punch. As Tobirama allowed his chakra to circulate through his body, breaking his hidden seal. As he took a deep breath, as he picked up the kunai and threw it across the field. Meanwhile, as Naruto decapitated 3 heads in one swing, before something slammed into his side, he had to move instantly. He couldn't drop as the ground was obliterated by a powerful earth jutsu. He was attacked by 3 ninjas by once as he twisted his blade and flicked up in the air. He delivered a vicious right hook that broke the mask, sending ninja sailing away. He then brought his foot down and crashed it into the man's skull, splitting it open before he landed on the other one's shoulder. He twisted his body as he came down his blade, severing the man in half. Naruto panted as something was thrown. He leaped as the explosion went off, but the force blew him back right into a Kumo shinobi who was gonna slice his head off. As Naruto turned, but the man was decapitated before he could reach Naruto. As Naruto stopped, crashed landed on his feet. Someone was there. Someone stood in front of him. As Naruto was shocked seeing this man. Senju. Tobirama, he said. Tobirama blinked when he saw those red eyes once more. There could be no mistake. Fierce skin. No, there was none. Memories of that dark day came back to haunt him. Flashback. 10 years ago. Tobirama released a sigh of relief when he saw his eldest brother resting against the bark of a tree. He was wounded and he looked extremely tired. A dozen Senju and Uchiha clan warriors surround the first Kage ready to defend him, as they were in the dangerous war-torn line of lightning. Tobirama, Hoshirama said in a hoarse voice, as Tobirama came over and placed a hand on his brother's shoulder. I'm here, elder brother. Can you teleport us all to the battlefield? Hoshirama asks. The battlefield? No way. Are you crazy? Mito asks, as she desperately worked to heal his wounds. The children, Hoshirama whispered. What? Said Tobirama, as others are confused as well. Uzumaki children, a special force dispatched from Uzu. They rescued me from the trap, and they're currently stalling the enemy to buy us time to escape. Uzumakis? Since when did he have a special unit that is strong enough to face Kumo's army? Said Kagami Uchiha, future leader of the Uchiha clan. Many eyes turned towards Mito as she lowered her head, as she revealed a secret only known to Uzumaki members. After the clan war ended, our clan lost a lot of our numbers. In order to defend ourselves against Kumo advances, the first Uzukage put a plan in motion to create an extremely talented force who could defend Uza against impossible odds. These warriors will have special abilities powerful enough to defeat tail beasts if required. For this reason, they chose the best and brightest from our clan, even experiment on their bodies, to give birth to new Keiki Genkais. This was the plan that was being worked on when I came to Konoha. After that, I don't know what happened. Many amongst the clan were against the idea, because the very idea behind creating our village was to protect the young ones from dying on the battlefield. But it seems like not much has changed, despite the new era, said Mito. Hoshirama started to get back to his feet, despite their protests when they tried to stop him. He turned towards him in a glare that even made Tobirama back away. Take us to the battlefield, Tobirama. Tobirama knew very well not to disrespect his elder brother's wishes when his mind was made up. One glance in Hoshirama's eyes was enough to tell them that he was going to protect the Uzumaki children no matter what. Very well. Everyone, join hands with each other and connect with me. As he gathered his chakra, it will be quite a long jump, but if Hoshirama willed it, he will make it happen. An instant later, they all vanished from the spot, as some of them collapsed on the ground, not used to the travel when they arrived. But what Tobirama saw was devastated corpses everywhere. The scream came from Mito as she cried out no, as she ran towards the dozens of dead Uzumaki children lying there. My god, they're all dead, said Kagami in horror. True to his statement, the battlefield was littered with corpses, most of them from Kumo. Even so, Tobirama saw the teenage shinobis, some of them even earlier than that, lying dead from Usu. But for each of them that fell, 2 dozen Kumo shinobi had to die as well. Is there no one left? Took a Senju axe. Hoshirama punched his fist against the ground as he closed his eyes, as Tobirama kneeled down and started to spread his senses, as Mito was cradling one of the young children, really young. Tobirama then felt it. It was faint. Eastern side, he said. Together, they all charged towards that direction, but the Uzumakis had made sure that no one was left alive as Kumo ninjas were brought down. Hoshirama sensed a terrible amount of chakra. It was foul, as he made everyone get behind him, as Tobirama stood by his side as they wondered, would it be wise for them to go down there? The chakra in the crater was foul and dark. When they were certain that the risk was manageable, they made their way. When they arrived, they saw the corpse of the 2 tails. It was lying there, motionlessly. The giant cat was not visible because of the smoke, but now they saw it was hacked to pieces, torn and ripped apart all over its body. A seal was placed on its stomach to blow it from the inside up. Who could have done this? Took a Senju asked. It was a well-known fact that Hoshirama and Mito had the power to restrain tail beasts. Even the Uzumakis could do it as well. But to actually kill a tail beast, it was a feat not yet performed. As they saw a boy there, his uniform was tattered and torn as he was lying on the ground beside the tail beast. He was alive, his chest was slowly rising and falling. They charged towards him. The first thing that Tobirama recognized was his ear and his eyes. Unlike the rest of the Uzumaki, he had blonde hair and blue eyes. As you could see it in his eyes, he was waiting for death. There was a nasty wound in his chest, and his broken sword was still in his hand. Hoshirama recognized the boy though. Captain Fox, he said. The dying boy couldn't even look up at Hoshirama. His body was too weak to move, as Mito instantly started working his wounds. Tobirama could feel it. The boy's chakra was fading away. He didn't have much time left. He also seemed to be in immense physical and mental pain, being the only one that survived from his group. He had the captain pin, so he was the leader of the Uzumaki Special Forces, a truly sad fate. As Tobirama pulled his blade, as he stepped over the boy. You've done enough, child, he said. Die well. As he raised the sword to deliver the merciful blow that would end the boy's suffering, because this was inhumane. He was in so much pain. Wait! As Mito threw herself between them. But do not touch him, said Hoshirama, as Tobirama placed away his blade. Get it over with, the dying boy whispered as he looked towards Hoshirama. It would be an honor to die by your hand. Tobirama noticed every now and then the boy's eyes. They flicker red. Is he related to Uchiha clan distantly? Hang in there. Don't lose hope, Captain, Hoshirama said, as he started to pump his own life force and chakra to heal the boy. If I don't save you right now, it will only anger the young ones, who look up to you as their hero. Besides, you saved my life, Hoshirama said. There isn't anyone left with such prowess anymore on the battlefield. My generation died. Right here, said the boy. There will be in time. Come on, don't give up. You told me about your dream, a world without any war, Hoshirama said, as he was healing the boy's wounds by sacrificing his own life in return. The boy's eyes turned towards a dead young boy, with red hair over to the side as you could see the pain in his eyes. As he looked at his other comrades lying dead. That's just impossible. You and I are no longer the same, the boy whispered. I don't have any family left, the boy said. I have nothing left to protect, and I can never forgive you for your foolish decision of sharing the tail beast with Kumo that started this war. My brother died because of your mistake. The boy said, his eyes turned red with anger, but more blood started to seep out of him. Hoshirama could not look him in the eyes. After all, he was the one that gave the tail beast to Kumo and bolstered their ambition to make them think that he could lead the world. A decision that started the first noble war that led to so many deaths of so many young children. You got your priorities backwards, Hoshirama. It would lead this world to complete destruction one day. As Tobirama saw his brother froze. Madara, Hoshirama whispered. Mito and Tobirama were the only one knew why he said that name. Those were the same words Madara told Hoshirama the day that they end their fighting when Hoshirama put him down. He only told this to his family and no one else. Tobirama came down as he placed his hand on the boy's chest, as he started to provide his own chakra. Why, the boy said. Dying here won't change anything. As their leader, it is your responsibility to carry on the dying dream of your man and woman. Strive to fulfill those dreams, remember what they died for, and it will give you strength, Tobirama said. Keeping my brother safe was my dream, my promise to my parents. But I could not. Then, be the voice of the dead, Tobirama said. Tobirama hoped the boy understand what he was trying to say, but it seemed like they were able to understand each other because some hope returned in his eyes. I'll be more than that, the boy said. In the flashback, Tobirama Senchu. The boy was shocked seeing him alive, much less saving his life once again. For the motherland. Tobirama smiled hearing those words from the boy. That was a code word from the operatives that were stationed in Kiri under the joint program from Usa and Konoha. So, this boy was one of the operatives that were stationed in Kiri. So that is the path that you chose, Tobirama said. Now I see why Command wanted us to attack this place. To think that you were still alive. Konoha will be relieved, said Naruto. Why did you choose this path? Tobirama asked. War is a never-ending part of humanity. But the more we pursue it, the more hatred and death follows. My dream died, my brother and comrades, but their dreams still live inside me. As long as there's life inside me, I'll protect your dream, no matter what pain come my way. That is my path, said Naruto. What is that dream then? Asked Tobirama. To protect Usa and his allies, I will protect it with all my heart, said Naruto. What's your name? Said Tobirama. Naruto Namikaze. I believe that is only half truth. I can see that you have chakra of Namikaze inside of you, but a shinobi worth anything in this world would never release his name so easily. The boy smiled. I became Naruto the day I became my S. The boy I was before no longer exists. I can barely remember that name anymore. Hold on to it no matter what, said Tobirama. At that moment they saw Main getting surrounded. Tobirama saw the blade in her hand burn even more brighter. Hatred is rage towards the people that took everything away from him. As the boy's hatred surged, so did his power. But there was also something else. He was able to recognize it because Hoshirama's cells lay within the boy. On that day when Hoshirama had shared his cells with him to help him, Mito chakra was also in there as well. But there was someone else that overwhelmed them all. Another chakra that Tobirama knew from his past. Hokage, in your current situation, you know that you will not get very far in this nation. Even if you escape, the enemy will catch you, said Naruto. As he watched Mei take down Kiko forces, Tobirama knew that as his wounds started to reopen slowly, and very soon he'd be facing chakra exhaustion. He was not fed in days, and the water in his body was dangerously low. Even if he ran, Kumo's army will descend upon him and capture or kill him. This time, though he was gonna go down fighting like a shinobi, he wasn't going to die in a cell. But that would not heal any benefit for either himself or his village. He could only hope that his students were able to protect their home as best as they could. Yet they were very young and new to war. He had to go back home to protect Konoha. Then what do you suggest he asks? Fight alongside me and gain the trust of Kiri. I don't think it will look good on my cover if I let you escape. But I can guarantee your safety with the Mizukage. Perhaps even secure an alliance between your villages in this war, said Naruto, making me a prisoner again. How is that different to Tobirama? Kiri needs allies to win this war, and so does Konoha. But they're too proud to ever approach each other to gain each other's trust. I want you to be that bridge to meet them approach each other. Kiri will only threaten Konoha to get a more favorable deal with my life on the line. Knowing my people and my students, they will do everything to get me back, Tobirama said harshly. Naruto then told him about the state of the war. Knowing that the Sand had also joined the alliance of Kumo and the Stone, Tobirama clenched his fists as Naruto stepped in front of him. I saved your brother once. Hoshirama believed in me, and for that fate, I sacrificed everything. In the event if Kiri mistreat you or threaten your life, I will get you back home safely to Konoha, no matter the cost, Naruto said. Why do you care about my life? I might have saved you in the past, but we barely know each other, Tobirama said. Naruto simply shrugged. Believe it or not, my mother consider you a dear friend. Before she died, she told me to seek you out and serve you. She said that she owes something priceless to you. I still don't know what she owed to you, but I will do my best to keep you safe. Second, said Naruto. I would have approached you earlier if my little brother had not asked me to stay and fight with the enemies. But now is now. So, what do you say? Tobirama gulped. What's her name? Inume Namikaze, he asked. As Naruto was surprised. So you do know her. I always thought that she was rambling about this in her final hour. Maybe there was some truth to her last wish, as his wounds got healed thanks to the first Hokage power inside of him. Tobirama seemed really nervous. How old are you? He asked. 24, said Naruto. He was confused by the question. May's scream snapped Naruto's head around. This time I'll protect my comrades, as he vanished in a dark flash. Tobirama felt it. That power that he felt inside of him that he couldn't understand. It was clear. Tobirama understood what it was. It was his power. It was his power inside the boy. It was very clear to Tobirama now. Meanwhile, May felt a chakra even more sinister than her tail beast spread across the city. It consumed everything in its path, threatened to drown all of it in endless agony. The killing intent, she's never felt so much hate in her life before. Even the sixth tail paled in comparison to this hatred, this rage. But it was not just her. Every shinobi from both sides felt it. The fighting had completely stopped as he tried to sustain himself. This power was overwhelming the darkness. She saw many of the younger and inexperienced Kiri shinobis dropping to their knees, overwhelmed by this unconsuming power. Her eyes then turned towards the direction, and she froze. Lord Seven stood there, his eyes no longer blue. They were pitch red. She felt his agony with one single look. She felt his pain. It made her tremble. Dark chakra like ash consumed him and was hovering around him, the darkness rising up to the ear. And it was his sword. His sword was growing so red. From this point where she was, she could feel the heat. It's really him. May turned towards Kinkoku forces, who seemed terrified. How did he survive that battle? This makes no sense. We have to get the hell out of here. We're dead, you idiot. As May was shocked, when she activated her power, they had laughed. When she went into Three Tails, and yet they were terrified of the Naruto. They were trembling, they were afraid. As she watched as red smoke bombs was thrown up in the air, and they started to run. The remaining Kumo forces started to run, as Kira started to attack them, but the Kiko force jumping away, so that they could give their comrades time to run away. As Mainjutsu stepped in front of them, stand down, he said to Kira shinobis. Like heck! The female couldn't finish that word as her mask was cracked with a single swing of his blade. The next one, take off your head, said Mainjutsu. As he stepped forward, do you want us to let those bastards escape? Said Zabuza, as he pointed the fleeing Kumo forces led by one of the Gold Silver brothers. One of them had also managed to grab the wounded A. That hit that Tobirama gave him reeled a number on him, right in his chest. Let them run. I will be surprised if the Raikage doesn't kill them himself. More importantly, I will not allow a man to venture deeper in Kiri territory without any backup. Let me deal with these bastards, you guys. Take the second Hokage into custody. He is far more valuable than these cowards, said Naruto. As Mainjutsu looked towards the second Hokage, shock. Let's go, said Mainjutsu. As Zabuza stayed by Naruto's side. Kill them, said Naruto. Gladly, said Zabuza. Lord Seven, he said in a teasing tone. Meanwhile, Tobirama did not move, as he was surrounded by the Kiri shinobis, but his eyes were only fixed on one warrior. He was the only one here that could understand the depth of Naruto pain that gave through to this hatred. This chakra, there is no mistake in it. He has the blood of the Senju, the Namikaze, the Uchiha inside of him, the body, the mind of a Senju, and Namikaze, but the heart of Uchiha. Tobirama never saw the Kinkaku force in fear before, but now, as Naruto charged towards them, they were afraid. After all, they knew him. He was the one that slaughtered the two tails. He did not stop it or restrain it, he slaughtered it. There was so much power in this boy, yet tapped. It scared Tobirama. But inside his heart, there was emptiness. And it was empty, void. A void that was pitiful, as of that broken Sharingan that never fully awakened. He watched as Naruto released a storm of ash that surrounded half of the Kinkaku forces. As Naruto clenched his fists, they were set on fire. Their scream, their pain. He simply moved and cut and sliced. The surviving Kinkaku charged forward, but Zabuza cleaned two of their heads off. As Naruto moved as a female, Kinkaku moved forward as she swung her blade. Her blade connected with Naruto and her blade shattered. As Naruto dried his hand through her chest, ripping her heart clean out. He used her body and held it up to block hundreds of kunais that pierced into her, and he was gone. He dropped in the depths of the forces, shattering the ground as he swung, severing 2 feet before kicking their head clean off. His punches and kick enhanced with so much power as he split through the battlefield. 7 more were left as they were holding their blades that burned with a foul Biju chakra inside of them and lightning. Zabuza was about to move forward, but Naruto stopped him. As they all rushed towards Naruto, who was stepping forward, Tobirama extended sensory power. His eyes widened when he felt it. It's calling out to his hatred and consuming his power to fuel it. But it's also consuming his life force, a cursed power, but it had no match. It spread across his body as his white hair turned pitch black. The kanji turned red. They released a hail of kunais, all 7 of them, as he blocked every single one of them that came towards him. As they all moved, they brought their blades down, 14 in total, seeing that every one of them had 2 blades. He used his one blade to block them all. Their eyes widened as Naruto pulled his tanto. As Naruto stabbed the tanto right to one of their neck, the man dropped dead instantly. Use your hatred and destroy these creatures. The voice was calling out to him, promising the vengeance that he desired. He felt the life force being drained from his body, and for a second, he thought to stop channeling so much of his life force into his sword. However, the face of his dead family and friends flashed before his eyes, and his hesitation, it was no longer there. As Naruto leaped towards them at alarming speeds, he gave them no chance. As Naruto broke all of their blades, he tore and ripped their heads apart, severing limbs, tearing their body to pieces. As they all fell, 3 of them though, despite their bad wounds and choking in their blood, they didn't die yet. As everyone saw that the battle was over, as Naruto stood there, over the 3 that was coughing and wheezing, he released ash that surrounded their body, and lighted it, as they scream in agony and pain, but he just watched as they burn. He never smiled as his arch enemies screamed, dying, because it wasn't enough. His eyes landed on the hundreds of civilians, cowering in their homes. They were abandoned by their own shinobis. His hatred burned as he walked towards the city, his sword burning hot. He saw the fear in their eyes as they saw the death inside of him. A firm hand was placed on his shoulder. He glared at the person that stopped him, but the person glared back at him. Enough! Tobirama released his own chakra into the boy, as some of the hatred started to fade away. The sword howled in protest as Tobirama slapped it away from Naruto. As Naruto's eyes returned back to blue. There's still good left in you. Don't lose yourself to your own darkness, Tobirama said gently. As Naruto looked around, he had butchered half of the population. Innocence. Now that the hatred was gone, he felt sorrow and shame. I asked you to be the voice of the dead, but that doesn't mean your soul has died as well. They killed my family, said Naruto, remembering his father, his brother, and his mother. And how many families did you slaughter in return? As all the fight vanished from Naruto as he looked towards the people. He looked towards half of the city that he turned into ash. A family like his own. People that love their loved ones also died as well, in a sense. Tobirama felt the battle going on inside of him, light and darkness. Deep down he was empty, which made him do things that he would not do. What have I done, he said, as he pulled himself away and walked away. Time skip. Naruto sat at the docks as he watched. The morning sun pierced through the clouds. Osaka would take years to rebuild, if ever. Half of the population was dead. The command center was destroyed. And hundreds of shinobis had died. The remaining civilians surrendered instantly after they saw a glimpse of his power. Many of the food stores survived after the battle. So did a few weapon sections and treasury. It was safe to say Kiri gained a huge bounty in resources and prisoners, not to mention Hokage, who was willing to accompany them, to probably force an alliance with the Mizukage. But Naruto felt conflicted. The words run through his mind. How many families did you slaughter in return? Those words rang in his ear. Beautiful, isn't it? He looked up and saw Meijutsu and Haku by his side. Behind them was the remaining ninjas, swordsmen. Is the mop-up complete? We need to leave before reinforcements come back, said Naruto. We have taken care of it. You have done more for all of us in this battle. Still, I never thought the Kinko would be this weak. They're not, said Naruto. What do you mean? You easily take them down, Amurai said. I faced them before, so I know how they fight. That gave me an advantage. However, these Kinkaku, or new recruits, they were not able to master the Biju chakra that was planted inside their body. Their training was not complete. It was the veterans. It would have been a different story. My best guess is that the Kage took all the Onvus and veterans inside this battle, leaving the new recruits and the Onvus that remain here to watch over the city. That's troublesome, said Mainjutsu worriedly. Well, at least we won this battle. That should be enough for now, said Haku with a smile. We will beat them when the time comes, said Kisame, as the others nodded. What I did, Naruto whispered. Zabuza and Kisame scoffed. Huh, you made us proud to call you commander. You upheld our village reputation and store fear in the hearts of our enemies. War is cruel, Naruto. But you prove that you're willing to make tough decisions. Not many can do that, said Kisame. I never thought that you had enough power like that. It scared the enemy enough, and that's good for me, Amurai said, as Jinpachi nodded as well, as Haku offered a bottle of water, which he took, as it quenched his thirst. We only lost 40 of our men in this battle. With another 20 injured, the enemy lost 1,000 to 1,500. You saved our men. For that I'm grateful to you, Commander, Haku said thankfully. The men are aware of your power, but also their confidence is there, knowing that they are being led by a powerful commander. You're a powerful ninja, but more than that, you're a dangerous commander who I wouldn't want to face in battle, said Mainjutsu. As Naruto looked towards all 6 of them, the finest warriors of Kiri, there was once hesitation and mistrust in his eyes, but now they looked at him differently. His actions had changed their views on him, maybe even ignite something close to friendship, as they all gave him a respectful nod and called him by the name that they remember him by, Commander. Time skip. Tobirama was kept, well, he was being guarded, but they weren't closing on him, and he wasn't restrained. As he saw Naruto, as he saw the way the people look at him, the respect, it was there. As some of them even cheered by calling Commander. As the boy simply nodded back. He's something else, isn't he? One of the Jonin said that was guarding Tobirama. That's the Undu Black House for you. He was one of us first, but now he's a fine commander, another one said. He's amazing, a hunter ninja said. As she saw the commander spending time with a wounded shinobi, Tobirama was confused. Yes, Naruto did something remarkable, but it was like this was the first time they've seen something like this. As his dilemma was noticed by the hunter. It's because Commander Naruto understands the feelings of his men and strive to protect them. Our former superiors never cared for us. They only saw victory at all costs. Naruto lead from the front and fight alongside his men. Our enemy fear him, and our people will love him after his victory. He's the hero of Kiri, the female hunter said. Tobirama blinked as he sensed the chakra present inside of her, Yamanaka. The Kiri shinobi could not distinguish her power, but the former Hokage who lived amongst his clan knew it very well. As he watched, she gave him a subtle nod, as he understood. As Tobirama glanced towards Naruto, the boy that could probably be his son. Naruto would never let him test his blood, but him and his mother had shared something, and not to mention, Naruto was not his real name. He took up that name. So, it was possible. It was possible that it was his child, if Tobirama could make him confess his true name, and if it turned out to be what he believed. He looked at the boy who was possibly not aware of his true identity. If his doubts were correct, then Naruto was not only the last surviving member of the now extinct Namikaze clan, but the heir to the Senju clan as well. Know that Hoshirama's son and grandson had perished. Hoshirama's granddaughter still lived, but the clan demanded a male heir to lead them. They were pressuring Tobirama to settle down, but he refused them every time. But if this boy was truly his son, then he belonged with his people. He belonged to the Senju and his father, but there was something about his power that scared Tobirama. Tobirama blinked. What the hell? He heard his elder brother's voice. He looked around, but it was just the Kiri guards. Tobirama! There was no mistaking it. It was truly his brother's voice. Elder brother, where are you? Still holding grudges, huh? Just like your son. Wouldn't it be he's like his father? As a voice chuckled, making Tobirama smile. Hoshirama's own person could do that to him, making him smile like this. This must be some sort of illusion, but he was grateful for it, to hear his brother's voice. There is great power inside that boy, but there is also great sadness. Elder brother, promise me, you will train and look after that boy. I will, because I have questions of my own. He is a chosen one. He will bring balance to this torn world. Then the voice was gone and everything returned back to normal. Tobirama looked at the boy. That could be his son. He didn't know where that voice came from or if it truly belonged to his brother. But there was something in his heart that begged him to protect this boy. Time skip. Two figures are currently looking at the village. They were on top of the mountainside as they looked over the destroyed village below them. It was interesting, wasn't it? A plant-like creature said to his partner. The tall, dark-haired man beside him didn't say anything, but his eyes were focused on their subject of interest. That sword. You tinker with it, didn't you, Zetsu? The man said amusingly. Not too much. The rest is all him. You feel his power, didn't you? Said Zetsu. The red-eyed man stared at Namikaze boy. Watch him fight and lead his man was rather entertaining, even though he was a son of the man that the red-eyed man hated the most. All this destruction and carnage he did to avenge his little brother. I would have done the same, no. I would have been much harsher. There's still hesitation within him, but darkness is in his heart. I've seen it, said the red-eyed man, as he turned to walk away. What would you like me to do? Zetsu said. The man stopped and looked towards him with those dangerous red eyes. Make him realize his destiny. One day he shall be known as the Black Flash, the red-eyed man said. Time skip. Naruto watched as the 501st started to depart from the ruined city of Osaka after stealing all of his resources and valuables, including many of the villagers who shall now be used as slaves in Kiri. It was a gruesome reality of war and one that he was not comfortable with, but he had to keep his cover. More importantly, he butchered half the city. He had no right to call them out on taking slaves. It would be hypocrisy of the highest order. Still, a part of his heart was already in pain. The only thing that kept him going was his promise to his little brother. No matter what pain come my way, I will protect the village that you died for, Nagato. I will protect Uza just like father, mother, and you. Even if it means become the monster that I became today. He would get no reward or recognition for his services from his nation, possibly even die in this cover. But that was what he undertook when he took this mission, as someone stepped beside him and looked over the ruined city. Many of the now slaves were clinging on to the dead, their family. They cried, they mourned. Is there no way for people to live without conflict, he said. I don't think so. This world is destined for such pain as long as people exist. Such is a nation. Such is our race. People are divided by those things. While you might not want war, another will. And there's no stopping a human desire. Each of us believe ourselves to be right and always find fault in others. That is the state of this world that we live in, Ino said sadly. Those words hit him hard as he clenched his fist and closed his eyes. Naruto, I want this war to end so people like me are never born. At the same time, I know my actions will only result in more people like me being born. How can such a paradox exist? I can never forgive the ones that took my family, but today, I did the same thing. Aside from my desire to protect my village, I don't even know who I am anymore. Then, do not forget who you were, she said. He looked towards her. She gave him a warm smile. We are both despicable people who've done terrible things in the name of protecting our home. This burden, we have to live with it every single day. But we don't have to be alone in this pain. No one else can understand us, but we can understand each other. Which is why I want you to trust me, and I can trust you. Together we can bear this pain How can we do that, he asked hesitantly. She offered him her hand. My true name is Inu Yamanaka, but my family always call me Ino. The reason, the code name, she said. As Naruto froze. Naruto? That was my mother's name, he said. She didn't know what to say now because she was just trying to make him understand that she trusts him. To give her real name to him, but it caused him pain. Minato. She blinked as she looked back up at him. Minato Namikaze, my birth name. Although it doesn't matter now because everyone who knew me as such is dead, and it is deleted from the birth records. Only the Uzukage know me as such. It's a good name, she said happily. You think so, he said. Yes, she said. The darkness that she felt growing inside of him was slowly vanishing as she took his hand. As he smiled, his smile really bright and happy. Thank you. We may not have married willingly, but over the years I've truly come to care about you. As you have done the same, otherwise, you wouldn't be worried about my safety so much time. But I want you to share with me, just like how I will do the same with you, so that we can both trust each other completely. So we can survive this cruel mission entrusted to us, she said. I understand, he said to her. Maybe if I had vented some of my anger with you before this mission, I probably wouldn't have went into a rage and caused so much unnecessary death. Forgive me, Inu, he apologized. The past is full of regrets, the present, full of a lot of hardship, she said. That is why we have to look towards the future. You're right, he said with a smile. Of course I'm right. After all, I am your wife, she said, as she smiled back. Well, that makes me a lucky man then, he said to her. She blushed at that comment, as this was the only time they had been so honest with each other, and she loved it very much. Time skip, as Naruto arrived to find Mei, standing guard over Tobirama, to make sure he doesn't try to escape or cause any unnecessary harm. Well, he didn't seem to be in any mood to do so. He was just sitting down and watching the shinobis, as they were preparing to leave. Lord Seven, said Mei, as the others were there as well over to the other side. As they bowed respectfully, he dismissed the other guards, promising that he'll call them back soon, leaving only Mei and Tobirama. Extend your hand, said Naruto. Sir? Trust me, said Naruto. She released her hand to him, as he cuffed her wrist. She saw the seal that he placed on her, came on her arm. Release, said Naruto. She felt like a weight had been lifted off of her. As he looked towards her, I trust you, to keep your powers in check off the battlefield. As Mei glanced towards the other guards a distance away. Even after all these years, they still did not trust her, after all these years of her services, because of what she contained. You did well by holding off the Kinkaku, long enough for me to put them down. I'll be counting on you, said Naruto. You want me to stay in the 501st? She said in shock. Most of them would just want her to get away from them, but he wanted her to stay in it. This mission will only make the 501st be pushed into more dangerous battles. Considering the strong challenge ahead of us, I want a strong Kunoichi like you in our ranks. I will request the Mizukage to make you a part of this legion. But my powers, she said, knowing that if she went berserk it could harm a lot of people, including Naruto. I'll keep you safe and I won't let you go out of control. Have faith in me, he said. Why? Risk so much for me. You hardly even know me, she asked. He placed a hand on her shoulder. I can see desire to protect Kiri in your eyes, despite all odds. I need soldiers like you, if I'm going to win this war. The question is, will you follow me, he asked. She bowed and pledged her sword to him, as he gave a nod. How are we getting back, Tobirama said, tiredly. As Naruto smirked, as Tobirama noticed there wasn't any ships or anything coming for them. As Naruto slammed his hands together, a large portion of his chakra was summoned. Tobirama watches a monstrous wave of water rose up from the sea, 30 feet tall. Without a word, the 501st got on with their prisoners and their valuable. As Mei went to get on top of it as well, as Naruto walked towards Tobirama with that smirk. Shall we? Show off, said Tobirama, as he got to his feet. But guys, will be in tips right here. If you want the next person to do, like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on the bell notification to stay posted. But for now, see you guys soon. Peace.